So, The Social Network. On the 27th of February 2011, the 83rd Academy Awards took place. Two gigantic, irreversible mistakes were made this day. The first was to let James Franco host it in whatever state he was in.
Wow.
And the second was The Social Network not completely sweeping all of the categories. The Social Network is pretty much a perfect film, I said it. It has the combination of a director on top of his game, an upcoming cast all chomping at the bit to prove themselves, Aaron Sorkin before he became a bit too Aaron Sorkin-ish, and Justin Timberlake being as punchable as he can be. I mean, it's really just baffling how this movie didn't pick up more awards ahead of the likes of The King's Speech. Like, The King's Speech isn't bad, don't get me wrong. Like, we all love a bit of Geoffrey Rush and Colin Firth on a Sunday afternoon. But Best Picture? America just loves the royal family and just general British period pieces way too much. The Social Network is a film as defining of a generation as Rebel Without a Cause or The Breakfast Club. It captures the moment right before humanity plunged into Zoomer social media zombies, and looks at the man/lizard practically responsible for that avalanche, the Zuck. What entertains me most about looking at this film in retrospect are the initial reactions to how Zuck is portrayed on screen. A lot of it was, well, that was a bit harsh on the guy, and it's so funny how in the years following the film's release, everyone has slowly realised that the portrayal was probably pretty accurate for the most part. Sure, the film isn't without its flaws. Eduardo Saverin isn't the great guy that the film makes him out to be, and yes, there is not only one sexually cannibalistic deviant, but two in the film. But honestly, that's about it. The film balances drama, mystery, and even comedy really well to craft a story so rich and engaging, and it's just about how a bunch of computer science students started a website. With the benefit of 11 years of hindsight, it's really interesting to view The Social Network as a modern digital world version of Citizen Kane. It has a few of the same story structures, a non-linear narrative slowly building into a crescendo of realization. Erica Albright could almost be seen as the rosebud element of the piece, and of course, Mark Zuckerberg represents the modern day Charles Foster Kane. But because this is a true story, we get to see his story continue to evolve and grow in the real world as well. When looking at The Social Network in retrospect, you can't help but think of the real world developments since. Even putting social media's development as a whole to the side, you think about Zuck testifying before Congress, the dogshit fake news that plagues Facebook feeds with little to no policing, the development of echo chambers and how that leads to the rise of radicalism. These are things that even David Fincher, one of Hollywood's biggest cynics, didn't have the nihilistic foresight to predict. Facebook and social media as a whole changed people's entire outlooks on other people. What we choose to share and choose to hide changes others' perceptions of us and can influence our social stature. And even though the film didn't predict this, we can see nuggets of it through the characterization of Mark, Eduardo and the Winklevoss twins. All of them obsessed with image and notoriety to some degree or another, whether they're honest enough to admit it or not. Mark struggled in the real world, so he wanted to put the entire social life of college online, where he could control other people's perception of him. Something that sticks out to me a lot comes in the scene often regarded as the scene.
Mark! Mark! He's wired in.
Sean Parker, in the most assholish way possible, slams Eduardo for wearing suits around and acting like he's hot shit in Facebook when he isn't in actuality. And I can't help but just think that that's the environment that Sean and Mark and all of the Facebook team are actually cultivating in this moment. They're creating a digital space where someone can portray themselves as something different entirely, and even promote that idea through the implementation of likes. And yet they condemn it. The Social Network is a special kind of special film, and one that becomes more interesting every time you watch it due to the real world developments still happening around social media, Facebook or otherwise. Like I said, it does still have its flaws, but looking at it in retrospect, we see a masterfully crafted film with huge real-world implications, discussing the creation of something which may well have been a huge mistake, and looking at the man, or lizard, who is behind it all.